All right, and we're live. Let's just make sure it's going out okay on the old YouTubes here. Come on. Come on. All right, sounds good. All righty, so happy Not Pride Month, everybody. Hope you're all excited for the Not Pride Month. The when the shoving it down our throat is back to a low tolerance. Sorry, I'm cracking open a cold one with the boys here. And boy, was this an obnoxious Pride Month, was it not? Holy crap! Even like gays were like, "What is with this? What's going on here? This is a bit much." So a few news stories we're gonna cover real quick. The big one is the how do you say his name? Andrew. I'm sorry, not Andrew. What is the guy's name? Andy. I'm sorry. Yes, it's Andy. No, I believe is how you pronounce it. NGO. Neo Geo. Andy Neo Geo. He's a conservative, quote unquote. A journalist. Right of center. I mean, the far right gay Chinaman. As we all know, vehement white supremacist. Gay Chinaman. So he was reporting on some Antifa shit, and they assaulted him. They threw a milkshake at him. I know that they've been mixing quick drying cement into milkshakes. I don't know if that was if he was afflicted by that, but that's deadly dangerous shit. Quick drying cement is very very caustic, and there's a reason people wear gloves, big thick gloves, when they're using that shit. And it's the kind of thing you don't realize is burning you at first, especially if it seeps into your clothes. It's dangerous shit. They know exactly what they're doing. It's domestic terrorism, and should be treated as such. But no, in Portland, the mayor has basically told the cops to stand down. The cops just watched this guy get assaulted, did nothing. Which, I mean, YouTube's terms and services don't allow me to suggest what those cops should do when they get home to themselves. Anyways, article over on hotair.com. Ted Cruz, it's time for the DOJ to investigate Portland's mayor for letting Antifa run wild. It's cliche that Trump will be tweeting about this soon, maybe even before the post goes live. In light of the weekend's vicious attacks on journalist Andy Neo Geo Pocket, how could he resist? Mainstream Democrats are reluctant to offend progressives by denouncing anti-fascists, and Trump would love to showcase that squeamishness in the context of a violent assault on a bystander who did nothing more than show up to a report. He'll find a way to make Pelosi and Schumer choke on this. I assume Hot Air is a right-wing outlet. I'm not really familiar with it. The way it's writing, it sounds like it. Trump ordered a DOJ investigation of Portland's Democratic mayor over the incident. Trump ordering a DOJ investigation of Portland's Democratic mayor over the incident might go too far, letting Dems argue that the president is meddling in the Justice Department's work for partisan political reasons. That doesn't go far enough. But there's no reason why Ted Cruz can't exhort the department to get cracking. Ted Cruz tweeted, to federal law enforcement, investigate and bring legal action against a mayor who has, for political reasons, ordered his police officers to let citizens be attacked by domestic terrorists. I don't know, man. Bearded Ted Cruz is best Ted Cruz. It's just that simple. Bearded Ted Cruz is best Ted Cruz. And as far as I'm concerned, Ted Cruz is the best bet to not have a president AOC. Hey, Luke, how's it going? We are live, by the way, so don't pull
fellow kids.
Don't pull your penis out. We're live. You all should see how Luke is once we're not live. I feel uncomfortable by it, really, by his action.
What have you told them?
Nothing. I fell. I walked into a door. No, he should absolutely be investigated by the DOJ. Man should be taken out of his office in handcuffs, as far as I'm concerned. You know.
Who are we talking about?
The Portland mayor, because he let that gay Chinaman get attacked by Antifa.
Oh,
I don't need. I'm saying Chinaman. He could be. I don't fucking know. I can't. I really can't tell the different strands of East Asian apart.
I guess I think he's Vietnamese.
Yeah. Okay. I can't. I can't. You know. Does he look Chinese, Chris? Honestly, Bechtloff, does he look Chinese? He's Vietnamese. I'll have you know. Does he look Chinese? Yes. Yes, they all look the same to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you that. Can't fucking tell them apart.
So are you Chinese or Japanese?
I live in California last 20 years, but first come from Laos.
Yeah, I can't tell them apart. Couldn't tell you. So yeah, bearded Ted Cruz is best Ted Cruz. Let's hope it's Ted Cruz 2024. I mean, it's certainly awesome. It's certainly not going to be a Democrat in 2020. Let's be fucking realistic here. I mean, I got a Mega Millions ticket sitting up on the kitchen table right now for tomorrow night. It's got a better chance of being a winner than anybody in both of those Democratic debates. Okay. Oh.
I don't think being realistic is condescending enough to explain our expectations.
Oh, Lordy. Yeah. So, yeah, Ted Cruz getting it done. I'm very happy. Speaking of Democrats, Andrew Yang actually defended far-right provocateur Andy Neo-Geo Pocket. And Andrew Yang, this is off of MSNBC, 2020 Democrat Andrew Yang sends well wishes to Andy Neo-Geo Pocket. Journalists should be safe to report on a protest. I love how that's a controversial position Andrew Yang took. He tweets out, I hope Mr. Andy Neo-Geo is okay. Journalists should be safe to report on a protest without being targeted. Yang tweeted Monday, or today, I guess. Neo-Geo, a sub-editor and photojournalist, says he was taken to the hospital after being attacked by Antifa, a coalition of left-leaning activists, while covering rival demonstrations on the streets of Portland. Neo-Geo says in a series of tweets he was beat about the face and head multiple times, left bleeding, and his camera equipment stolen. Yeah, the cops are just sort of letting this shit go. It's fucking ridiculous. Every cop who just sat there and let that happen, I don't know how the fuck you sleep at night, buddy. And I'm tired of this shit, by the way, of cops. Cops are just following orders. All this other horse shit. Like I was talking about the UK police and what a soulless fucking ghoul you have to be to go along with the typical orders of the UK police departments these days. And people are like, oh, they're just working people following orders. She's following. Fuck them. Fuck them. I'm tired. Oh, they're just following orders. That's fucking bullshit, okay? After a while, there comes a point when just following orders isn't an excuse anymore. Okay? You know the big standoff down in Cuba, with the nuclear subs, the Bay of Pigs? No, it wasn't the Bay of Pigs. The Cuban Missile Crisis. The Bay of Pigs was before. But the big Cuban Missile Crisis. Technically, the captains, both on the Russian and American side, probably should have fired, according to the letters of their orders. Probably should have started conflict that would have ended in this country, in this world, being a giant, irradiated, smoking butthole in our solar system. But they didn't do that. Because you know what? Just following orders, that's not good enough. All right? I don't want to hear that shit from these defending cops that go along with monstrous shit like that. Oh, you're just following orders. I don't care what the fuck your orders are. You're not a robot. You are a human being. You are a living thing with a heart and a soul and a free will. Fucking act like it. Looking in the chat here. So So he says quick dry cement is basically acid. Antifa is one step away from being Muslims throwing pure acid on women's faces. Let's see. Bechtloff, you notice when Democrat city mayors behave like they are despots ruling their own cities? Yeah, and they're never even good despots. They're never even ruling it well. It's not like it's a relatively peaceful place. They don't just have tyranny, they have a narco tyranny. Bechtloff, we did better when presidents had beards anyways. This is kind of true, actually. I really can't argue with that. So he says Mennonite strippers and Bechtloff senior stories too. Electric Boogaloo win. I might get the old man on here this week. Planning on getting it on this week. That should be fun. Maybe he'll tell some more stories of Antarctica. Being stationed in Antarctica, where he saw the edge of the world, of course, according to some people. I tell you, if they're paying him to keep him quiet about the whole edge of the world thing, they're not paying him enough. So he says smash stream when. I don't really know how the fuck to stream my my Switch games. I could, so I don't know. I mean, if I knew how to do it, I'd probably do it more often. It's an easy way to make content, and I play games all the time anyways. I'm trying to play a little bit more story mode on Mario Maker to get some more stuff unlocked. You got to get stuff unlocked. Like I don't have the Super Ball mushroom or the Super Ball flower in Mario 1. I don't think I have those like hooks that can grab you and swing you around. Bechtloff, did your dad see the turtle or Flat Earth wrestling? Yeah, he saw the giant turtle. It was actually it had a red bandana over its face, interestingly enough. Just like Raphael.
Who, in the interest of keeping said ration, will vote exactly one way in fucking perpetuity. Sort of kind of like exactly what the fuck we have in LA, New York, San Francisco, Chicago, in short, any fucking where Democrats have enjoyed 9 uninterrupted decades of imperial rule and who could personally shit in the mouth of every citizen in their municipality and still wake up to a piping hot re-election souffle every 4 fucking years.
Yeah. So let's see what the hell else going on today. I mean, the milkshake thing again. You know, that's the thing. The left at first wanted to be like, "Oh, we're just throwing milkshakes. Get over it." You know, it's not really that harmful. I mean, first of all, it is assault, even if it's just a fucking milkshake. You can't fucking do that. You can't be laying hands on people in any way. But then it's now you're putting fucking quick drying cement in it. That's potentially manslaughter if you're not careful. Let's see what else.
And they have the nerve to say that people who don't like being have milkshakes with them are snowflakes.
Oh, you said it's snowflake. Oh, what's the matter? Milkshakes hurt? I don't want to hear that from the person that thinks words hurt. Okay. I get on here, I say some certain naughty words right now. I could show it off YouTube, and you'd all be like, "Well, God, he's just an evil Nazi. He deserves it." Oh, and that's another great plan. Everyone to the right of fucking Bill Clinton circa 1994 is a Nazi, right? That I don't know that that's going to work out so well for you. Because that's most people. Oh, look at this gay Asian man. He's such a white supremacist. He's probably some NRX Catholic too. No, he's a gay Asian man, okay? The only thing that defines him as right wing, as far as I can tell, is he'd like his taxes lowered. What was the one Democrat? I want to say it was one of these idiots running right now who proposed a war tax. One of these idiots actually proposed a tax specifically on non-military members to pay for these wars. Now, that could be some 4D chess in that would make the wars super unpopular and we wouldn't be going to war anymore. Sort of like how a lot of Democrats used to propose reinstating the draft back in the 2000s. and it was actually the neocons that opposed it because they knew it would make the war even more unpopular. That said, though, I mean, if somebody's going to be paying for a war tax, can't fucking, I don't know. How about all these fucking companies that profiteer off this shit and push it? How about Israel pays the fucking war tax? Can we have that happen?
Oh, that was one of Beto O'Rourke's ideas.
Oh. Good old, I can't figure out how he's running as a Democrat, to be honest. Somebody says, I bet milkshakes wouldn't be flying if they knew bullets would be coming back. Well, you notice there's certain areas they do this shit and certain areas they don't. I mean, yeah, in Portland, you could do that shit. You could do that shit here. There are no Antifa protests in Lancaster City. And there's a lot of leftists in Lancaster City. The little city in the heart of Lancaster is barely a city, but whatever. The little town, whatever you want to call it, in the heart of Lancaster County. It's a blue little dot in this sea of red, I can assure you. It's mostly full of Puerto Ricans at this point. There's no Antifa fucking protests in there. Every once in a while, you see some fucking snowflake by the art college, like fucking Trump, am I right? Holding up a sign or something. But no, they're not out there with the fucking, masks and shit like that, breaking shit. Because it wouldn't go well for them if they did.
This is a tweet from Christopher Mathias. Christopher Mathias was linked to Antifa in a report by a guy named Ewan Lenahan. You now have people like Mike Stutchberry who openly and gleefully mocked Andy Ngo, who was violently attacked, potentially with a caustic chemical, who spent in the hospital with a brain bleed. Mike Stutchberry claiming it's a fictitious report. You have Christopher Mathias, who was connected to Antifa in this report, mocking Andy Ngo after he was attacked. Now, this was...
Milkshakes have the special power of revealing how fascists and their enablers are just effing snowflakes.
Yeah, fuck this guy. I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who the fuck that is. Fuck him. I would love it if my helicopter revealed how much of a snowflake you are. I disavow that comment. I was, of course, referring to Minecraft. My helicopter in Minecraft. All right. I don't know, man. I miss.
He's a Huffington Post writer, a senior reporter for the Huffington Post.
Of course, these fucking leftists are so insane. It's like it's. I miss how the left was during the Bush years. Like, I didn't hate them nearly as much, and I kind of suspected they were always like this deep down, but it's not how they presented themselves. Back then, they just bitched about the war, and I was on their side on that one. So he says, everyone, look, it's a snowflake falling from a high place. Indeed. Toad You Stink says, Bechtloff, DuckDuckGo exists if you don't know how to stream from a Switch. I believe I have to get some sort of fucking capture card or some bullshit to do that. And I mean, I'm not spending the money on it right now. So somebody says, just got here. What did I miss? Oh, nothing. We're just bitching about Antifa. Fucking domestic terrorists, man. Just outright fucking domestic terrorists. And they should be treated as such. Just, yeah. Outright domestic terrorists. And they think this is gonna win them a fucking election. It's like, keep doing this. Keep fucking trying to punch everyone. Because you know what the sequel to the punch a Nazi game is? Eventually the sequel is shoot a communist who tried to punch me. At the same time, though, I'm gonna say, like, I'm not dumping on Andy Neo Geo here, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't know anything about him, whatever. And obviously there was no reason he should have been attacked. That said, though, if you are remotely recognized, don't fucking go to one of these. I mean, unless you're just trying to prove the point, trying to get yourself fucking attacked so that you can be a martyr. I guess that's one thing. But at the same time, don't don't fucking go to one. I wouldn't go to one of these. I wasn't particularly comfortable hanging out with Forney at the Bernie rally back in 2016, and things weren't as bad back then from those maniacs. And I'm nobody. Nobody fucking recognizes me. But I still kept a look over my shoulder periodically. Because not only are you going to be attacked by these maniacs, but you're going to get in trouble for fighting back. Or if you don't, or you're just, or nobody's going to get the other side in trouble, or both. That's what's going to happen. Okay. Philadelphia is where I was with Forney there back in the 2016, Democrat convention. That's nowhere near as bad as Portland. I don't trust a Philly cop to uphold my rights or defend me as a citizen. Not in the least. No, a Portland cop, I trust them to do the exact opposite. But yeah, I don't trust a Philly cop. I don't even particularly trust the cops where I'm at now. You think I'm going to trust a Philly cop? So yeah, like Andy Neo Geo here, he should have gone with a fucking mask on. Half of those idiots were wearing masks, I guarantee it. Go with a mask and a hidden camera. All right. They make small little cameras. You could fucking, nobody would see. Just hold your fucking phone up or something. Like, I'm not saying he should have been attacked, mind you. But at the same time, there are some guys who go out there and they very clearly are provoking shit because they want to be a YouTube star or something. The Revenge and Assist guys pointed out one guy who would go to these pride parades, and he was such a fucking moron, he only had the one question ready. He was like, don't you think it's bad to be doing this in front of kids? And, a few people would go, no, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's harmful. And then he would just, like a fucking robot, like an NPC in a video game, he'd just be like, yeah, but don't you think it's bad to be doing this in front of kids? It's like, I just answer your question. What are you, having a stroke? And that guy was purposely trying to get one of these fucking sissies to attack him or something, so he could be a YouTube star. And that's fucking obnoxious. That ain't helping nobody. All right. I don't think that Andy Neo Geo Pocket over here was trying to do that. But at the same time, like, if you're going to go to one of these things, like, don't fucking make it obvious what your intention is, maybe. And maybe you're not going to get your ass beat while some corrupt shitbag, while Officer Letitia and Officer Shanae look on and laugh at you. If you're on the right, you have to. There's an old saying where on the right here where, act completely like or what is it? Never break the law, but always act like you are breaking the law, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, always, don't sit there and think the police are your friends, kind of thing. Don't sit there and think that the system will protect you and all this. No, it's not gonna happen. Sorry to black pill you there, folks, but it's not gonna happen. The police aren't your friends. Hell, I don't even particularly think they're your friends if you live in. I live in a pretty red area. I live in a pretty, trust me, I would be more likely to have my car vandalized with a Bernie sticker than a Trump sticker where I live. Guarantee you. All right. I still don't believe the cops are my fucking buddies. What was the one Democrat said on the stage in the debate? I want to see a world where both a white man and a black man sees a police officer in their rearview mirror and feels safe, not fear. Well, I'm a white man and I don't feel fucking safe when I see a cop in my rear view. Now, I see lights in my rear view. I know I'm about to get mugged, is what it boils down to. I know this guy's going to steal about a couple $100 from me because I made a right turn on red. So no, there's no. Yeah, cops aren't your friends. You know, the media is gonna This kid went. This guy, again, don't know anything about him, but Andy Neo Geo Pocket over here. He went to this fucking thing. He got his ass beat. Maybe he'll be able to find some justice if he sues some motherfuckers. But who's he going to sue? Does he even know who to fuck? You can't go to court and try to sue random twink number one. You need a fucking name. All right.
Oh, crap, the LAPD.
Come on, Pete. I want to save some tape for the Hollywood sign.
Okay. Hey, thanks a lot, you guys.
Hey, our pleasure. Have a nice vacation, sir.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't think the cops are my friends in a God-fearing K-type red district. I certainly am not going to think that in any kind of blue area. Oh, blue lives matter. Fuck you. Look, I know a cop's job is difficult. All that kind of stuff. Blah blah blah. But this crap. Oh, the cops are your friends. You're an idiot if you think that. You're a fool. And Portland needs a fucking wall built around it, and the rest of us forget it exists. All right, we need Bane to come in and fucking blow up all the bridges into Portland and say he's going to set off a nuke if anybody tries to enter or leave. And then just set that nuke off anyways. In Minecraft, of course. Fucking Batman couldn't clean up Portland right now. It would be like a lot of the darker versions of Batman where the cops are against him. Yeah, the mayor was like, I'm glad my officers didn't intervene. Well, I hope if Antifa comes to check your privilege, Mr. Mayor, that your officers don't intervene.
You're telling me there were 4 precincts on Batman's heels and he still got away?
Because he's Batman. There's a cool comic I ordered off of Amazon. I was going to throw it on the wish list, but then I was like, fuck it, and I just bought it. It's called The Wrong Earth, and it's about like 2 different versions of this indie superhero, not Marvel or DC, just this indie creation called The Dragonfly. And the way I've heard reviewers describe it, it's basically like, imagine if the Adam West Batman and Frank Miller Batman just switched universes. Like there's Earth Alpha, where everything's all bright and cheery and Silver Age camp. And there's Earth Omega, where everything's all grim, gritty, fucking gnarly shit. Seems like a really cool comic, and a lot of people raved about it. I might even do a review of it when it comes. Somebody says, I think the mayor is a woman. No, it's apparently a dude. I was just looking at an article and had a picture of him. I mean, it's a cuck. He looks like he could be fucking, auditioning for, cuckolds.com or something. Sucking Mandingo's load out of his wife. Portland's a circus that never closes. Like I said, man, it should just be walled off. Yeah, the mayor of Portland released a statement. Decent people shouldn't live here. They'd be happier someplace else.
Here's Ted Wheeler, folks. Mayor of Portland.
Yeah, look at that. He looks like he should be in a porno watching his daughter go black. He should be pretending to be Hannah Hayes' fucking father in a porno, watching her get railed. So he says the right would be unstoppable if they fought the left like the left fought the right. I find the biggest thing with the right, and this goes back forever, the handful of times you can get them truly fired up are on the wrong hills to die on, is what it boils down to. So he says he looks like Rachel Maddow in a blonde wig. You know, he looks like the that one actor. I can't think of his name. I want to say it's Alan Rickman, but he was in a show called Spin City with Michael J. Fox. He was also the best friend in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He looks like that guy. Like that guy should play him in a movie. You know, when we have a movie of how Portland collapsed and even RoboCop couldn't save it, that'll be. He just looks like a bit of an older version of that. Well, I say older. A First Bueller's Day Off is like a 30-year-old movie, so he probably looks like that actor looks now. But yeah, like I said, he's a cuck. That's a cuck. He doesn't even have a well-fitting suit. He's got that Ron Paul problem where he looks like he's wearing a kid wearing his dad's suit. So he says, no one on the right wants to give up their cushy lifestyle or risk their job to punch a Goldilocks in the face. Well, that's part of the other problem. I mean, you're not, none of these Antifa, the establishment isn't going to side with you. You're going to get fucked. So, and yeah, a lot of people, they got families to deal with. They got their own lives to live. I mean, I wouldn't advise you to get involved in far-right politics at this point. Get involved in any of these organizations. They're all fucking honeypots. Or they're just run by deranged maniacs or egomaniacs or whatever. The entire dissident right is proved to be nothing but fucking hucksters and scam artists and lunatics and feds. Don't throw your lot in with those people. I never did to a great extent, and even I'm somewhat regret the amount of times I've buddied up to these idiots. And I'm saying alt-right in a broad sense of the terms. I'm saying dissident right. I'm saying non-establishment right. Okay? Everybody from what you call alt-right to, I don't know, neo-Nazis, to white supremacists, to the NRX dorks. The Duke of Turnwater sends $5. Says, I haven't been able to catch one of your live shows in a while, but it feels good to finally be able to do so, and sends $5. Well, thank you very much for the super chat. I love how Luke threw together a watching his daughter go black thing for the mayor of Portland. Which, by the way, if you that's a real site. That's a real site, by the way. That real people presumably have real membership at. May God have mercy on us all. The grift right. Yes, indeed, chat. The grift right. So he says one of the best ways is to go gulp and let the leftists eat themselves. I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, now part of this is my temperament. I'm not much of a joiner. I never, when I am in a group, I never seem to have more than one foot in that group. You could say I'm an evangelical, for instance. I've always mostly theologically aligned with evangelicals. But politically speaking, I don't share their Israel fetish. And theologically, I don't share their literal creationism. And then, again, socially and politically, there's a lot of ways I'm not in line with them. They're just sort of the group I find myself mostly in line with. Luke is always throwing together fantastic images for the mayor of Portland there.
It's a real logo, folks.
Is that supposed to be a lollipop in the logo?
Yep.
That's actually kind of funny. Like, I guess I should be mad, or that's terrible. No, I find that funny. Like, I just picture one of these fucking thoughts in the video sucking on one of those giant, stupid, oversized fucking lollipops, those big rainbow lollipops, like for the turn of the last century. I don't know why that's so funny to me. like the chick's clearly like fucking 29, and she's LARPing as some high school cheerleader with some little girl lollipop. Oh, dude. Oh, that's funnier than it has any right to be. Because you know porn does that stupid fucking cartoonish props in them all the time. Duke of Turnwater says, I'm going to see Joe Rogan in Portland in August, and these recent incidents have me sort of worried that there'll be a massive protest. I want to say no for Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's pretty middle of the road, but at the same time, I mean, these guys accused a gay Chinaman of being a white supremacist, so who knows? I would definitely advise you to watch your six at all times. You know. Somebody in the chat says, it's funny that when Gen Z white girls grow up, they're going to disavow their race-mixing older sisters, moms, and aunts. Well, okay, let's be real. I mean, as much as like porn tries to push that shit all the time, the race-mixing is still not all that common. And white girls with black guys is especially not that common. So, I mean, I know porn wants you to believe that every white girl is just clamoring to hop on the soul pole, but that's just not the reality. Like, yeah, I get, like, you know, you see on the news or something, you see some big, you know, some famous athlete or actor, and he's got himself a white trophy wife or something. But that's because he's like in perfect shape and he's rich and famous. Okay, you know, I'm sure LeBron James can get all kinds of white chicks, but your average black guy, not so much. It just doesn't work out that way. You know, and I don't even inherently have anything against miscegenation. I don't like the idea of it being pushed by a sneaky fucking media who's doing it as an anti-white bias. But like, if I fucking see a mixed race couple, I'm not like mad about it. Like, oh, that black gentleman is stealing my women. First of all, it's not my woman. Okay. I don't pretend to lay claim to the entirety of white women. Second of all, usually the one he's stealing is one I didn't want in the first place. It's another cold hard truth. And I mean, it's a guy with a girl. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't even want to care when I see gay couples. If that wasn't getting pushed, and especially pushed on children so much, I probably wouldn't give a fuck. I'm the kind of guy that doesn't generally want to give a shit what other people are doing. When I'm out and about in public, it's probably because I want to go buy something or go somewhere, or go out to eat or something. I've got my own agenda when I'm out there. I'm not trying to figure out what everybody else is going to be doing.
Yeah, this is actually a lot more common.
Yeah, the black chick with the white guy is way more common. But I don't fucking care. I like these fucking the fucking wicknats that get so caught up on it. Like, who the fuck cares? I don't give a shit. But what about the white birth rates? White birth rates are so low because white people just aren't having babies, not because they're having mixed babies.
And if you want to address that, go to the deeper sociological issues of why white people are not having kids.
You know. And by the way, I don't necessarily think low birth rates in and of themselves are bad things. What becomes a bad thing is when you then open up your nation to a bunch of third world invaders to try to fill that void. But birth rates go up and down. Okay, it's not like birth rates can rise infinitely. Okay, there is only finite resources on this planet. There's only this is a finite planet. Things just can't expand infinitely. Like everybody says, oh, poor Japan's dying because of its low birth rate. No, it's not. It just has low. It's an island nation. It can't just expand its population infinitely. And they're actually have enough cultural pride. They're not going to let a bunch of third worlders in to replace them. So they'll be fine. In 100 years from now, Japan will still be Japanese. So yeah, I don't necessarily think that low birth rates are the problem. It might be a problem in that it exposes things like Social Security to be a big old fucking pyramid scheme. But so yeah, I'm not inherently against miscegenation. I don't give a shit. Like, look, I don't find most black women attractive. There have been a few I've known that have been very attractive, and if I met a black chick and clicked with her, and I'm fine. I don't. What am I gonna? Oh, I can't marry this girl, even though I have a great connection with her, because some wignat on Twitter might call me a mean name. Oh, I better. Like, I give a shit. But I'm also not going to fucking get black own tattooed on my ass when I do it. I mean, like, there's a difference between somebody that's just dating somebody out of their race and somebody that's fetishizing another race, usually because they're mad at daddy. So he says the moral of the story is that porn is more often than not the inverse of reality. A lot of times. So he says, watch Bechtloff's super chats vanish as a result of this confession. Yes, I expressed that I would possibly be open to dating a black woman if I met one I really connected with. Now all the wignats are out there. There's a fucking 8chan post about what a cuck I am already.
Mistress in, dating a black person to piss off your parents is a form of racism.
Everything is racist.
That was a trailer from the trailer of Dear White People, the movie version.
As soon as she said that, there were a bunch of black guys that were like, shut up. Don't tell them that. Somebody says white girls date black boys to upset daddy, not realizing that daddy has sons half black somewhere. Oh, that's rough. Somebody says, geez, did White Wolf get a hold of Luke? Yeah, Luke throwing out the swirling art out there. The Storm with Thor one's kind of interesting.
Racism is over in America. The only people who are thinking about it are Mexicans, probably.
There's actually a story where Storm had she actually wielded Thor's hammer for a little bit there. Let's see. So he says after he marries a black woman, Bechtloff's household becomes known as New Wakanda. Yeah. When my kid tries to mouth off to me, he's like, "Silence, colonizer." So he says, unfortunately, a lot of white women date other races because they think they're dangerous. That wouldn't surprise me. Again, though, the black chick with the white girl, I know what porn would try to tell you, but that's not all that common. Doesn't really happen a great deal. Though race mixing in general doesn't happen a great deal. Most people date inside their race. We do tend to have tribal instincts in us. We do tend to be attracted to our own race. Going to the chat here. Scrolling to the chat. There's nothing wrong with that type of miscegenation. Then again, I mostly keep my head down. Yeah, like I said, I'm not fucking some Some wignat would be all mad at me. Who cares? Oh, Luke, I love that video. This video, by the way, if you've never seen it. So this chick, she's got like big old black eye, and she's on like social media complaining about how her man beat the shit out of her and laughed and all. And there was the little mulatto kid behind her, and everybody just fucking trolling the shit out of her, just trolling the hell out of her. Well, you know, in all fairness, I mean, if he's beating the dog shit out of her and then runs off, leaves her with the kid, she was probably the kind of white girl that was just doing it to piss off daddy. It doesn't seem like she picked a winner, does it? Yeah, she had this big old thing where she was all like, you know, oh, don't let a guy beat you up, all this other stuff. And it's like, you know, this is probably not even the first time he did this. She's probably just more upset that he left.
Aren't this a lovely couple? Parents of 2-year-old girl who drowned in pool charged with murder.
Jeez. So he says, sadly, a lot of women who are beaten up seek other beaters to date. You know, I mean, not to sound like some fucking, you know, MRA fedora or something, but you see a lot of statistics where, like, you see one, like, a guy who maybe got charged with beating a woman, got charged with domestic violence or something, that like never happens again for him with any other woman. But the woman, you know, she's got a whole string of guys that beat the shit out of her, where it's like, you know, and all those guys, they've only ever beat the shit out of her, no other woman. So it's kind of like, well, what's the common X factor in all these equations? You know, and a lot of times, no, not always, don't fucking, you know, but a lot of times some of these are just BP women that they know how to gaslight a guy into punching him in the face. And then when the guy's punched him in the face, then, oh, they're the big fucking victim. And the guy is, you know, because nobody likes seeing a woman get beat up, you know, so that's just instinctful shit in the back of our hindbrain. So, you know, everybody fucking hates the guy and wants to go give the girl a hug. Oh, you poor thing, and all that shit. You know, until you get a little older and wiser and you fucking recognize some patterns and you know a little better. But yeah, a lot of these cases, a lot of domestic violence cases are cases where both parties are physically violent on each other. And a lot of them are cases in which, you know, there's some borderline who's just really good at gaslighting guys into beating the shit out of her. Because, you know, every guy's only human. Everyone out there, you got a fucking, if somebody pushes your buttons in just the right time, at just the right place, you're going to punch him in the face. Like, we're all only human. We all have a fucking snapping point where somebody can push your buttons in just the right time or the right place, and you're going to punch them right in the fucking nose. Not saying that's right, but, you know, again, we're just human. And, you know, you get your typical manipulative borderline, and she knows when to push that button and what button to push. So that's why anytime there's like a domestic violence case and all, I'm never all like, oh, you poor thing or whatever. Okay, fuck it. I just walk away from it. Like, whatever, man. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I'm not getting involved in that. There's no winners in getting involved in that shit. You want to swing in like you fucking Captain Save-A-Ho, and trust me, your good deed will not go unpunished. Yeah. Like, I remember I had some buddies of mine fucking get all mad at me back in the day. But remember when, like, Chris Brown was beating the shit out of Rihanna? And it was like, oh, Chris Brown's such a monster. He's such a monster and all this other shit. And then what was it, like a year later? Not even, I think. She's back with fucking Chris Brown. And I remember saying to some of my buddies, I'm like, well, at this point, I think we can all conclude we officially have no sympathy for her, right? Because either she likes getting her ass beat, in which case, well, you go ahead and enjoy it, honey. Or she's a fucking idiot, not capable of pattern recognition. You know, either way, not a lot of sympathy. And I go, oh, that's terrible. You know, it's just, she's abused relationship. Well, fuck her. And then it come to find out years later that supposedly there's rumors that she cheated on him and gave her herpes or something. That's why he fucking punched her in the face or some shit. I don't know. But like neither Chris Brown nor Rihanna seems like a particularly upstanding person that I should have a great deal of sympathy for. They both seem like kind of dirtbags. Tomsy in the chat says, just like a Portland cop, you walk away. Yeah, exactly. You know, I think the only time I remotely got involved, I was living in an apartment building. And the couple next to me, they were beating the dog shit out of each other, right? So I called 911 and I said, you know, I can't remember. My apartment was 8E, and I couldn't even remember what the one next to me was, whether it was, you know, like, you know, 7E or 9E. I couldn't remember what off the top of my head which fucking direction the damn thing went. And I just called him. I'm like, look, the apartment right next to me, this dude is beating the dog shit out of her. All right, I think you need to send an officer over there because, like, you know, I mean, I'm trying to get some sleep over here. You know what I'm saying? I can't be dealing with this shit. And she's like, "Can I get your name, sir?" And I was like, "Yeah, could you like not? Could you like not put my name down? How about that? Like, I'm already more involved in this than I'd like to be." Okay, sir, I understand. We'll send an officer to that apartment building and see what's going on. And it was kind of apartment building that cop usually didn't want her to. You know, the cop on patrol in that area usually wasn't too far from that apartment building, if you know what I'm saying. But that's the only time I got involved in any of that kind of shit. And that was as far as I was willing to get involved. Was I going to go over next door and try and save her? That would have been retarded. Even then I knew. And I was like early 20s. Like, yeah, there's no winners in that. Luke's throwing up some hate stats up on the screen. I don't know what that's for. I, of course, disavowed this.
As long as we're on the topic of abusive relationships and when not to take a hint.
I don't see any pattern here. I don't know what you're talking about. I just see a bunch of random things that happened that have no connection to one another.
Oh, that's getting annoying.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know we're appeasing the YouTube goddesses, but this is getting really annoying, honestly.
Media Hit sends $2 and says, "What did Toadstool say when Arini crossed the road?" I couldn't tell you. Well, yeah, I don't know. Somebody says, "I had to do the same thing once. Best not to get involved." Oh, yeah, I didn't want to. Trust me, that wasn't an apartment building where you, like, knew your neighbors, where you wanted to fucking know your neighbors, okay? That was not what was going on there, all right? Media Hit sends another $2 and says, "You're a fun guy." I got you there. That's... But I'm... Somebody says, best method of divorce, take the kids to the parents' house, go to the woods. The one who emerges is the one the kids will be forced to live with. Yeah, just like the Godzilla gif, let them fight. Somebody says, I thought the punchline would be, "You're not here for the hunting, are you?" Arini crossed the road on a red hand, and when he got to the other side, he tried to philosophize why he wasn't wrong. Oh, Lordy. Let's see. What the hell else did I want to talk about while we were here? Oh, I mentioned yesterday a little bit of house cleaning. This week I'm working on a script. We're going to do a little animated video talking about the history of the Amalgam comics. which was a universe briefly formed when DC and Marvel combined their universes. And also probably going to do one on Marvel 2099. So working on the scripts for those. Wednesday, I plan on doing another show around 8 or 9-ish time. Probably just another hour, little bullshit stream. Same thing on Friday night. Thursday, I got some 4th of July plans. And tomorrow night, I might be enjoying the evening with a certain lady friend. And yeah, that's about it. Let's see what else. Oh, if you enjoy the show, do consider checking out the PayPal, Patreon, Amazon wishlist. White Wolf says, Bechtloff, give us your thoughts on the sad state of comics and video games. When do you think it will reset? I couldn't tell you on the video games thing. Again, I mean, right now, I think Nintendo is still doing good. I think Nintendo is doing really good right now. AAA gaming and all, it's not even a scene I'm big on. Never was. So couldn't tell you. So he says, tell them your DLive address. I believe it's just DLive / the Bechtloff. I think that's all it is. Is that it? DLive.com / the Bechtloff. Yeah, that's all it is. DLive.com / the Bechtloff. I haven't done anything on DLive yet, but go ahead and follow me because I might actually experiment with that this week. As for comics, I will say this. I've noticed that the history of comics goes on about a 20-year cycle and has for the entire history of it. You know, you look at the 40s, that's the golden age of comics, you know, the birth of the superhero comic, all the great pulp stuff, you know, late 30s into the 40s, into the 50s. There were some gems, you know, you had, but by and large, you know, there was all that comics code shit. A lot of the good stuff was damn near outlawed for a little while there. Into the 60s, you got the great Silver Age, you know, almost all the Marvel characters, you know, came about then. A great deal of the DC characters, you know, came about then. Then in the 70s, again, there was some good stuff, but it wasn't that good. A lot of blaxploitation and kung fu shit going on, but for the most part, not so good. In the 80s, you had perhaps the whole zenith of superheroes as a thing. So many amazing things: Crisis on Infinite Earths, Secret Wars, Dark Knight Returns, Watchmen, just to name the big, you know, the big peaks there. But amazing stuff, you know. Frank Miller's Daredevil, you know, Black Costume Spider-Man, that kind of stuff. Just fantastic stuff. Into the 90s, again, the 90s are maligned a bit too much, but there was some good stuff back in the 90s. But definitely bit of a low point. In fact, there was a speculator bust that almost killed the industry. You go into the 2000s, yeah, I got amazing stuff. You got the Ultimate Universe back when that meant something. You got Kurt Busiek doing Avengers, and then later Bendis doing Avengers. Great stuff. You know, you got Civil War. Most of the stories in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, by the way, came about throughout the 2000s. You know, Captain America 2 and 3 are both mid-2000s stories adapted. The more modern take on Iron Man's origin came about mid-2000s. And now in the 2010s, you have a low point. You know, a bunch of social justice horse shit. Interestingly enough, in the 50s, 70s, and this decade, you can blame outside social pressure on really choking the creative life out of the comic book industry. Not so much in the 90s. That was almost more economic pressure with the collapse. You know, the comic bust. So I said, Bechtloff, tell us about non-Marvel / DC comic superheroes you like The Shadow or Black Beetle or Black Belt, etc. Were you in any of that? I got a soft spot for The Shadow. Not huge on him, but I do enjoy him. What else?
Here's a fun title: Aphrodisiac.
Oh, geez. It is the precursor to Blacked. As for other non-ones, Empowered is really great. Adam Warren's Empowered. Bomb Queen is fun if you don't mind like really over the top kind kind of R-rated stuff about a villain. Invincible. Robert Kirkman's Invincible is fucking fantastic. It's Robert Kirkman's the guy that created Walking Dead, but Invincible is by far his better thing. Godland over at Image is pretty good. It's very much a homage to old classic Jack Kirby and Stan Lee Fantastic Four, big over the top cosmic storylines. So those are some good non-Marvel and DC superheroes you should check out. And Witchblade. I actually was a big fan of Witchblade back in the day. Somebody says, Bechtloff says, we think we'll wrap this up. Yeah, and y'all, as soon as I say that, y'all start coming at me with questions. Somebody says, Marvel Civil War story arc ruined comics. Now superheroes fight each other more than they fight villains. Superheroes always fought each other. Like, all the fucking time. You know, the two superheroes beating the shit out of each other over a misunderstanding is one of the most, one of the most beloved tropes of the industry. Somebody says comics could survive the comics code and evangelical extremists. They couldn't survive the radical SJW. Well, that's the problem with a lot of the more left-leaning types that end up being artist types. You know, they were sort of naturally immunized against right-wing moralizing busybodies, but they didn't have the same immunity to left-wing moralizing busybodies. But yeah, Witchblade's great stuff. Like, early Top Cow is probably the best 90s Image you can possibly read. The Top Cow universe for a while there, it had Witchblade, Darkness, Fathom was in it. I believe, I want to say Cyberforce was in there too, of all fucking things. But also Laura Croft. They got the rights for Tomb Raider for a while, and Top Cow's Tomb Raider book was fantastic. Yeah, I have a real soft spot for Witchblade. I mean, yeah, obviously, there's a sex appeal to it. You know, she's got her awesome little armor there that only ever seems to be covering her nipples and titty. Her nipples and her cooch, but it actually was some really good storytelling. Darkness was pretty good too. I got a buddy of mine that's actually into comics specifically because of Darkness. He was he played the video game back when it came out, and next thing you know, he's digging through back issue bins, and he got into Witchblade and Darkness and all this other shit. But yeah, those are some good non-Marvel and DC books. There's a lot of non-Marvel DC books I'm reading right now, but they're kind of all like based on licensed properties. Like IDW's got some good Star Trek stuff, some good TMNT stuff. There's good Power Ranger stuff going on over at Boom. Somebody says you have a soft spot for Witchblade soft spots. Well, I do. Not gonna lie. Oh, the other cool thing in the Top Cow universe was there was a nun assassin called the Magdalena. And she was like an assassin that worked for the Vatican. And like there was she was like part of a line of assassins that would like do Vatican wet work shit. Like go after and kill vampires and demons and shit like that. Luke, look up the Magdalena. Like it's this fucking war. It's this like hot fucking fetish like warrior nun outfit. There she is. Somewhere Davis Arini just came in his pants. I'm just kidding. We all know Davis Arini doesn't like women. But yeah, the Magdalena
get in the way of his mission.
Yeah, they get in the way of his mission. Well, she's all about the mission. That's why she can help him. But no, the Magdalena was actually really good stuff. She first appeared in Darkness as a kind of a foil for him, but she spun off into a couple of her own series. It was really good stuff. Somebody says, I saw there was an Easter egg in the Ghostbusters comic of John Candy based on a character he wanted to play in the OG movie, and they gave up the roles to Rick Moranis to play him. Yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs in the Ghost. I forgot to mention Ghostbusters over at IDW. Great stuff. There's a lot of Easter eggs in the Ghostbusters comics. Like there's a guy that appears to Ray Stantz, Dan Aykroyd's character, as like a spirit guide in his dreams, and he looks like John Belushi from Blues Brothers. There's a lot of like interdimensional travel in the Ghostbusters comic as like part of the canon. And at one point they were talking about how certain unrelated people in other universes just have faces of people you know sometimes. They said we don't know why, but faces seem to travel. And like the one guy's like, yeah, we were in one universe one time where somebody that looked just like Venkman was arrested for blowing up a golf course. An obvious, nod to Caddyshack there. But yeah, something like the Magdalena, man. It's like, first of all, it's hot, sexy nun lady, hot, sexy warrior nun lady. But it's also, it wasn't like a big old fedora fest. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there was shown to be a lot of corruption in the church, but it wasn't like anti-Christian. Like, and she's portrayed very positively with a very devout faith kind of thing. Yeah, like she was trying to get the spear of destiny in some story or something because it would, the spear that stabbed Christ because supposedly it had all kinds of magic powers and had to get it away from a bad guy or something. Just classic good comic book shit, Yeah, Top Cow stuff was great. Over the top, goofy action, not afraid to have hot chicks all through it. All right, well, now I think I'm going to wrap up. Seems like the chat's kind of died down there. You all got me bullshitting about comics for a while, which I could do forever. Because comics are awesome. Like, yeah, they're not so good now, but there's even some good ones now. So, I highly recommend checking out the Magdalena. Old classic Witchblade. Old classic Darkness, even. I also suggest checking out Invincible. You can just check out Volume 1 and get started on it. Check out Godland from Image. Bomb Queen is another one. Empowered. And these are all self-contained things. You can just start right at right at the beginning if you want. Tom Z sends $5. Says good show. Just saying. Thank you very much. Yeah, I started off covering politics today, and it's like after a while, it's like I just want to talk about. Look at this big-titted superhero, Witchblade. She was cool. There was actually a Witchblade TV show on fucking TNT. The actress was not very hot, and there was almost no sex appeal on it, which was a shame. Somebody says, thoughts on IDW's TMNT run? I only read a little bit of the regular TMNT. I've been reading Shredder in Hell, which is pretty good. And I read a bunch of the crossovers, like the Ghostbusters crossover and the various Batman crossovers. Pretty good stuff from what I've read. I read a little bit of their run when it first started. I'm not sure how I feel about the reincarnation stuff in it. And but for the most part, they've done some good stuff with TMNT. Somebody says, dude, the culture war you should be commenting on is going on right now. Start following EVS and his Comicsgate grew. No, I think I'm not gonna get involved in Comicsgate. I've said for a while Comicsgate is kind of fucking gay, and I know it's just Gamergate again, and with all the same fucking mistakes. I mean, I wish all these guys well. I want their books to be doing great. I've read a little bit of Vox Day stuff, some of the alt hero stuff. It's good. I'll check out Cyberfrog at some point. I'll probably check out Jawbreakers at some point. I want these things to be doing well. I want them to put some new lifeblood into the comics industry. I want all that to happen. I just not throwing my lot in with these people. I'm just not going to do it. And by the way, not to suck my own dick here for a minute, but I'm kind of one of the guys that started this trash fire. Remember the milkshake girl? Remember the fucking 12-year-old girls that ran Marvel when they took the selfie of all them drinking a milkshake. I'm one of the first guys back on Twitter that commented on this, and I had a big old comment where I was like, no wonder Marvel doesn't sell anymore. And I was basically the guy who walked by that dumpster and threw a match into it. Now, I don't get any credit for that. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't want any credit for that. I don't want to be anywhere near this. But yeah, I'm not getting involved in it. I'm sorry, guys. I am not getting involved in like anything anymore when it comes to this kind of shit. I am here in my own little corner of the internet. And that's basically where I'm going to stay. I don't want to throw my lot in with nobody no more. I don't want to do it. That was the exact picture Luke had right there. And I commented, and like, it was funny too. I was like, no wonder Marvel can't sell if this is who's running Marvel. And I don't even think you could find it now, but I Craig Langley replied to that, and he was like, I would totally bang that one in the middle. And I just jokingly said, like, well, you might want to have her sign a waiver first. She looks like the false rape charge type. And, this was like reported in one of the fucking major fucking newspapers online or something. I think I got in like a Washington Post article briefly or something. Because I was condoning rape with that obvious joke. Now, thankfully, that all died down and everybody went back to not giving a shit who I am. But yeah, I was there at the beginning of this shit, by the way, guys, and I still don't want no part of it. I don't want to go on EBS's stream. I don't want to hang out with Teddy Spaghetti and his fucking alt hero shit. Because while alt hero is actually a pretty good read, and Gun Ghoul's pretty good. Calling it alt hero was dumb as fuck. And so yeah, I don't want to be in any of this shit anymore. Okay. Like, I might have started that dumpster fire, but I'm just walking. You know what me regarding every fucking group is anymore? I am the gif of Homer retreating into the bush. That is me whenever there's too big of a spotlight, whenever there's a big, whenever something I accidentally say turns into a big shit show and a bunch of people want to fucking profit off of it. That is me. Just Homer retreating back into the bush. You just picture that, but with a Bulbasaur, just retreating back into the bush. Like, oh man, I got to get the hell out of here. You should get involved with the Comics Gates guys. I'm good, thanks. I wish him well. I wish him all the best. You guys have fun over there. I'm not going to do it. Like I said, Cyberfrog looks interesting. I'll check it out if he ever fucking puts it out. I don't know if he did. Jawbreakers doesn't look that interesting to me, to be honest. It just sort of looks like a poor man's G.I. Joe, and I was never a big G.I. Joe fan, but I might check it out at some point. A lot of the alt hero stuff is good, and I think you should check it out. Another, real quick before we wrap up, another indie comic I've been dying to check out, but they just haven't put it in trade paperback yet. There's a comic out there called Beetle Girl. Now, let me real quick give you a little bit of background here, folks. Blue Beetle, there's been at least 3 versions of the Blue Beetle. There is the current version who's like some Mexican kid who's powered by the ancient alien scarab or whatever. The one right before him was Ted Kord, who is my favorite, by the way. Ted Kord was never able to get the ancient alien scarab to work for him, so he was just sort of a gadget-based superhero, sort of like Batman. And then before that was Dan Garrett. Dan Garrett was the Golden Age Blue Beetle. He was the one that first had the scarab. He was like Ted Kord's mentor, all that stuff. The interesting thing, though, is while DC Comics actually created the Mexican Blue Beetle, the current one, and acquired the rights for Ted Kord when they bought Charleston Comics, and Dan Garrett was actually, once they folded Ted Kord into the history of the DC Comics, Dan Garrett became part of that history too. So Dan Garrett has appeared in the DC universe too. But what's interesting is Dan Garrett is actually public domain. The Dan Garrett Blue Beetle is actually public domain. I don't know if you can put Blue Beetle on the title of a comic, but you could create a comic book about the Dan Garrett Blue Beetle. No one's fucking stopping you. It's like Dracula. Okay, nobody owns it. Or another public domain superhero actually is the Death-Defying Daredevil. Nobody owns that. We all do. You want to make a Death-Defying Daredevil comic tomorrow? Nobody's fucking going to stop you. So nobody actually owns Dan Garrett Blue Beetle. So what this company did, they created a comic called Beetle Girl, which is basically, in this universe, Dan Garrett's granddaughter. And she has the scarab, and she's doing superhero stuff on her own. I have been dying to check this comic out. But it has not yet come out in trade paperback that I'm aware of, where they reprint, 6, 7 issues, whatever, in one. Because I don't want to order a whole bunch of Luke's throwing up my fucking quote there. Jeez.
But thank you to Toad.
Yeah. Somebody says apparently Ted Kord Blue Beetle is forbidden to writers because Dan Didio hates the character and won't let writers use him. That doesn't surprise me. I love Ted Kord Blue Beetle. It's hard to find, but if you can find the old Charleston Silver Age stuff, do it. Steve Ditko's Blue Beetle in question is top-notch shit. And even the Silver Age Captain Atom is pretty cool for big, goofy, over-the-top 50s, 60s style pulp sci-fi. I actually got a trade paperback, and it was a big $75 trade paperback that I couldn't justify splurging on. I think somebody got it for my birthday, either my dad or a girlfriend. I can't remember who off the top of my head. But I wanted it so bad because it had all the it's called like Action Heroes Archives Volume 2, because Volume 1 was just Captain Atom shit. But it's got all the Silver Age Blue Beetle in question shit, and it's just the outline. It's not even colored, but it's even got an unpublished issue that never saw the light of day back in the day. Somebody says, I thought Ted Kord was dead. I believe he's alive now in the comics, and he's like the mentor to the Mexican Blue Beetle. By the way, I love the Mexican Blue Beetle's fucking costume design. I can't stand that comic because the first time I ever tried to read, first of all, I was sad Ted Kord was dead. But when I actually tried to read this fucking comic, they literally got people speaking in Spanish throughout half of it. It's like trying to watch the Democratic presidential debate. I did a review back on my blog back in the day of the one, I think it was the New 52 issue 1, where even the little redhead white girl in the fucking, going to this kid's high school is speaking Spanish. And this takes place in Texas. And I know a lot of people speak Spanish in Texas, but motherfucking they shouldn't. Damn it. But anyways, the classic Charleston stuff like Blue Beetle and Captain Atom and The Question and all that's great stuff. That's actually the characters the Watchmen guys are based off of. But once again, I think I'm gonna y'all just dragging me back in with good questions when I'm trying to wrap this up. Oh man, you're killing me. But yeah, Charleston. Luke throwing up some awesome, little bit of Misty.
Someone said Erica is greater than Misty.
Everybody loves Misty, the holy trainer of the mirthful Bulbasaur. So he says the original Ditko question was a badass. Yes, it was very much. So he says Misty is underage. What are you, a cop? Misty is not nothing. Those are just lines on paper. All right, I don't want to hear nothing about it. She can't be underage. That show's been on for like 20 years.
Haven't you heard Bechtloff cartoons live forever?
Oh. All right. That's about it for tonight, folks. If you enjoy the show, do consider supporting the show. We got the PayPal, Patreon, and Amazon wish list. And remember, anything I get off the Amazon wish list, I will do a review of, at least eventually. y'all hit me with a bunch of big, thick books at once, and I'm working my way, like stuff written by Martin Luther. That book on like the Vatican sex scandals that is a hard thing to get through. It's not that it's a bad book or badly written. It's just it's thick and it's infuriating. So it's a hard thing to get through.
You and I are bound together, especially since cartoons live forever.
All right. So that's about it for tonight. I want to thank you all for listening. Bechtloff out.